That's Juno. Okay. So. Now you're all quiet. And I'll edit this part out, so it's fine. I can edit the beginnings of stuff out. Okay, so this is a group on body image at every age. And so my name's Amarina Roberts, and the focus of the group is that we are all at different ages, and it's what makes the topic of body image incredibly interesting to see how it affects everybody at different times in their life and how it spans, particularly a woman's lifetime from a really young age right into your older years, your golden years.
Who's that? You're not there yet?
It's not gold yet.
Yeah, and so at every age, women are affected by preconceived notions of how they should look, and I think that that's really interesting because that we're still influenced, right? Okay, so to start out, I just have to let you all know that because this is a counseling group, that everything that you say here is confidential. Nothing leaves this group. I won't say anything to anybody. The only person who will hear is the professor who is watching. And I am only obligated to say something if you would mention something that involves you're harming someone else or harming yourself. Then I'm obligated to tell the authorities or go to a superior or higher up. And then just so we can kind of get into the group spirit, we'll talk a little bit about like what does a safe group mean to you? Like what does it mean to be in a group and sharing and to feel like you can trust what's going on and to feel like there's confidentiality?
So you need us to discuss about how we feel about confidentiality?
I'm just wondering, what do you need out of a group to feel safe? Do you need like a promise of confidentiality? Do you need to know that people are going to be honest? Like what do you need from others in the group and myself to feel comfortable sharing in this group?
Not to be judged.
Exactly. I was going to say the biggest issue would be judgment.
So not to be judged.
Not to be judged. You're just
Right.
taken as who you are with what you say,
Yeah.
and and that everybody has integrity and will be as honest as they can be.
Right. And what does integrity mean to you in this way?
That you're serious and don't
Kind of like speaking from your heart, speaking
Yeah.
from your own inner truth.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to add?
I think it feels safer knowing people in the group. You know, it might take a little bit longer to open up if you were in a group and you didn't know people.
Totally.
But knowing you and knowing your characters, I feel quite safe.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
familiarity
Yeah.
and strength of character.
Yeah, and safe that it's not going any farther than just this group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if if there's something to be said, we would say it to whoever from ourselves, not from anybody else's, what they've said.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So strength of character, integrity, familiarity, being your true self, and being honest with what you're contributing to the group. Does that sound like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of a grounding exercise. And, first we're going to do an icebreaker. Okay, so for our icebreaker, I want each person to pick one person who you admire. It can be a fictional person, a real person, dead or alive, or you relate to in some way, and provide 3 reasons why you relate to that person, and whoever they would like.
Why we relate to them or why we admire them?
Either or.
Nobody here in the group though, right? Like we've got to pick somebody outside our group.
You could pick somebody in the group if you like.
That was a question I was gonna ask.
Okay, I'll pick Anna.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason that I admire Anna is because she's open to trying new and different things. She's honest. I can confide in her and it doesn't go any farther. And she doesn't judge me.
Great, those are awesome attributes. Sounds like you guys have a strong
You
friendship.
don't
Was
have
that
to
me?
pick Yes, that's how I feel.
Yeah, pretty special.
Whoever would like to go next.
I'm still thinking of somebody. I mean, I could pick you too.
No, but yeah,
But
pick
you
somebody
picked
else.
me, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
pick somebody else, but let me just think for a minute. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so. 3 things. There's a woman who I've worked with. I don't work with her I don't see her very often locally. She's moved. But I admired her or found her inspiring, I guess, because she had this way of not ever. She never let her feelings get in the way. Like she was always pragmatic and got to the root of or the heart of what needed to be figured out. And there was never frustration that you felt. There was never any kind of judgment there. And she comes across friendly all at the same time. Like such a weird thing. You see it so rarely.
So, no ego.
Yeah, no ego, but also no irritation that she would show. Like there was just never any kind of irritation or frustration. I mean, she would talk about things that were frustrating, but you never felt like she was talking about people behind their back. She always had a really diplomatic way of talking about the things that weren't working. And she's advanced in her career, and I think that that's part of the reason. So.
Right.
I've sort of admired that she had that ability to, even though she's probably my age or maybe a bit younger, she had this natural born ability to just know how to do that so well.
Right.
And to be smart and to advance in her career, while having twin boys and a husband that worked and a super busy life. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just thinking of a lady in our walking group, and she's 84 years old, and I keep telling her that she's my mentor because she's got such a positive attitude about life. I mean, at 84, she's just still the most upbeat person in our group. She is inspirational in that she is very athletic, so she rides at least 10K a day. She plays golf, she plays tennis, she walks, so she's in great shape. She broke her hip last year. We thought that might be the end of it, and she just recovered so fast because she's in such great shape. Her diet is really good. She eats all no junk.
cheesies?
I gave her a bag of cheesies one time. She'd never had a cheesy before. A
Wow.
Hawkins cheesy, yeah. So she eats really well, goes down to the fish market and gets fish. And yeah, she's just a bundle of energy. And always looking on the bright side. I went for a ride with her today, and she's pointing out all the great things around her. So she's upbeat all the time. 84 years old. I mean, that's just inspirational.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Was that 3 things?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and it's great to hear how everybody has something you're inspired by people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next is our grounding exercise. So, Selena, you're already on the floor. Lois and Anna, you want to put your feet on the floor and your hands on your lap. Selena, just sit in a comfortable seated position. Okay, take a deep breath in and close your eyes. And I want you to focus on a small dot of light in darkness. And I want you to move slowly towards that dot of light and see it grow as you move closer and closer. And as you get nearer and nearer to the spot of light, you recognize it as daylight. And as you get nearer still, you walk out into the daylight. Where you walk out into, a field, a beach, is your safe spot. And look around, look at your hands, smell the air, breathe deeply. And look around and you should see a house. I want you to go and walk into the house. And in this house that is your house, this is your safe house. You know where your most comfortable chair is, the chair that you use for reading, the chair that you go to when you're sad, the chair that you go to read letters when you're happy. I want you to find that chair and get a blanket if it's cold, or stretch out if it's warm, and settle into the chair and become completely comfortable and at ease, and know that you're safe and in a good space. And then take a deep breath and slowly bring yourself back into the room. Okay, so firstly I just want to talk about eating when we all were young. Does anyone remember when your eating changed? When you were a kid, do you remember the first point that you became aware of how you ate, or how you ate in relation to your body? And made a change based on that realization?
I know as a kid I was chubby, but I don't think I really, but that's from looking at pictures, back in time at pictures. And I think it was when I went into grade 9 that I realized that I was chubby. You know, when you're a kid you don't really realize it, but that's when I made the connection when I went into grade 9, because you became really aware of all the people around you, and you had to dress. We had to wear dresses, so that was the whole shopping experience. And
So what happened when you went shopping for dresses? Like, how did it make you feel?
well, we had to shop in the catalog,
Okay.
so ordering out of the catalog was a bit of a challenge. And then you always have this fear when you got to school that they'd have the same dress as you, or the same skirt or whatever, because everybody had to order from the catalog.
There's only so many choices.
Exactly. But I just remember looking back on my pictures too, I was still chubby. You know, I think it wasn't until I started doing sports in high school that I started to slim down and get more muscular rather than chubby. And then aware of the diet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you became aware of the diet, did you implement that? Was it something that you practiced?
No, because, you know, with a family of 7, you didn't get many choices. You had to eat what was there, right?
Yeah.
So, but through exercise, through a lot of exercise, I think I was able to control any kind of a weight gain then through exercise.
Where
Because I
did
used to play volleyball and basketball and track and field and ice hockey, and so
A lot of sports.
lots of sports.
Were you aware you were controlling your weight through exercise?
No, not at that time.
So it sounds like you had a pretty good relationship with food and body image as a child. It didn't impact you, like, significantly either way.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'd have to really examine that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, from what I hear though, it sounds good, fairly healthy, you know?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's when you stop exercising and then the weight comes on, because you have to change your eating habits if you stop exercising.
But did you know that when you were younger, or do you know that now?
I
mean,
know that
you
now.
Yeah.
Now I have to walk to eat or ride to eat.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I had adolescent chubbiness, and so, and most of my friends didn't, so I felt fat, a whole lot. Didn't, it's funny because it didn't really associate it with eating, because you still want the sweets and, you know, desserts and stuff like that, so I didn't want to give that up. That was, so I don't know when I realized that, you know, food actually contributes to what you look like. I don't know. I don't know. And then I lost the weight, not through sports, except while I was always swimming and fooling around, but I think it's because I started smoking.
Right, so at what age did you lose the weight?
14.
14,
Yeah.
right.
And so that
Appetite suppressant.
made difference.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you lost the weight?
Well, I felt better because I think I fit the clothes better and they weren't so tight, and you know, and you're able to wear more fashionable stuff, and yeah, so, but I still don't think I associated it with food, probably until I got to be 30 and
Wow.
started to work out and do that. Yeah.
Right, and do you feel like it was a hook when you realize, a bit of a hook when you realized that you could fit into more fashionable clothes? When you started smoking, you could fit into more fashionable clothes. Was there some sort of hook into wanting to be more thin, or it still didn't have really much of an impact on you?
I don't remember that. I didn't take up smoking to lose weight.
No, but after you realized that you could lose weight with smoking, did you feel attached to the weight loss or the idea of being thin at all?
I don't know, attached to it. I think, I don't know, you know, and then in my head, I think the body image was always that I'm kind of chubby, even when I was thin.
Right,
So that was always with me, even when I was really thin.
it stayed with you. Did you have any family members that commented on your weight at all?
My mom would comment on my weight. Yep.
From very young?
Probably just at puberty.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to lose that feeling that you're chubby when somebody's constantly telling you that you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So I didn't associate. I can't remember the first diet I went on. Like,
No,
no,
don't remember the age?
no.
Hmm.
So what exactly was the specific question?
At what age do you remember being aware of dieting or food having an impact on your weight, or being aware of weight and diet? At what stage in your life?
I think it was at the age of around 12 was when I stopped growing. So it was 12, 13 when it became apparent to me that I don't think, it wasn't conscious of changing how I was eating, but I was conscious that my body was getting bigger. And puberty had really started by then, so it was kind of like, why am I getting chubby, but not, like several of my friends are not. I had a lot of friends that were not. So I think I became aware of the fact that I was eating what I'd always been eating. I hadn't changed anything, but now it made a difference, whereas before it didn't, and it was kind of like, what's going on? So then I became aware, I guess over 13, 14, I got fairly chubby, and then started getting interested in boys, and by the age of 15, challenged with sort of obsessive compulsion to really significantly reduce my weight down to the lightest that I've ever weighed, but it was obsessive.
So what did the,
A severe restriction and lots of exercise.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
So working out with mom, working out, I was on a volleyball team and that, PE, swimming. I don't know if I was still swimming, but I still had to certify as a lifeguard, so I guess I was swimming and eating like hardly anything and weighing myself daily to see if I gained weight, and getting down from like, I think I was probably, if I had to guess, I can't remember the top end of the weight, but based on, what I know about myself today, I was probably pushing 145 pounds at all of 5 feet,
Right.
and I got down to 109
Wow.
and could not sustain it. Like, it was so low for me. Like I had to eat nothing, or like if I started eating normally at all, like if I ate 3 regular meals a day, I put weight on. Yeah.
Did you suffer from fatigue or headaches or?
I don't remember any of that.
Okay.
Not at all. I remember feeling like, this is awesome. I'm super skinny.
Yeah.
These skinny pants fit. This is great. I had a boyfriend and it was great. And
You look as good as the girls in the magazine.
Yeah, right. I was driving and doing stuff, and it was great. I mean, I think that I just got obsessive about it, though, right? It was like a personal challenge. It was like, okay, I'm gonna ignore how hungry I feel. Can I gain, or can I lose a little more weight, by the end of the week?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, it was, not good.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear that in the different generations. Do you think that generationally that has an impact on the way we have viewed weight in ourselves? Selena being so much from a younger generation, and I guess with the advancement of like television and media, do you think that there's a possibility that you were more inundated with?
I don't think so, only because of where we lived. I'm guessing.
Oh, okay.
But I would have imagined that, like, mom living in a city like Vancouver
Right.
at a younger age would have had way more media influence than we would have had in Pender Harbor with all of 10 channels and no billboards and no malls to go to where you saw mannequins. Like, there was nothing like that. All we got were music magazines
Right.
and the Sears catalog. We did get that. And we did order out of it sometimes. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I would have,
that's true.
that would be my thought, but I don't know. But, sorry to interrupt, I think you asked, is there a generational influence? I would say absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
How could there not be? I just don't think it's tied to the amount of media availability influencing. I would think it was far more attached to how you were raised and what your parents' opinions were and what your mother looked like, and did you have a older sister, and what was the peer situation in the 60s versus the 80s and 90s.
Were you ever aware that your mom was dieting?
No, I don't remember ever feeling like mom was dieting. I just knew that she ate a lot less than I did,
Okay.
which was peculiar because she was working out just as much as I was,
Right.
right?
Right.
But then, like, it's
But
not
by that time,
Yeah.
I did diet sometimes.
probably I just
Yeah.
wasn't super aware of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And it's not like I was around enough to know what you were eating, like to really know. I mean, so you ate a smaller portion than me at dinner, but I didn't know. Wasn't really paying attention to
No.
what else you were having or not having.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if, like, you were a family of all girls, and I had like 3 older brothers. And I wonder if that made a difference, because, when we sat down to dinner with 3 boys at the table, they ate a lot.
Totally, I would think that looks normal.
Yeah, that looks normal, so
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Make a difference.
I never thought about that before.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're, they were like strong guys, and they were doing a lot of sports and stuff too, and working in high school. So I hadn't thought about that, but when we sat down to a meal, I'm sure their plates were loaded up.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of normal.
What
Right.
was your mom's plate like?
Very small.
Right.
Yeah. She was a very small eater.
Right.
But she was always busy cooking for everybody, so she very rarely sat down with us.
oh, really?
She might sit down towards the end, but our table was like right in the kitchen, we didn't have it. And so she was busy always serving and doing things. And she always liked to sit down after everybody was done, because she could relax then. And
Wow.
Yeah, and she had a nervous stomach, so it was better for her to sit down and relax and eat slower than
Okay.
everybody else.
Yeah.
So she was providing everybody with a meal, and she enjoyed her meal after. Like, she'd kind of sit down during our meal, but she was still always getting up and doing this and doing that.
Did she ever make comments to you about your weight?
No, never.
Never.
My mom's so non-judgmental. To this day, that's one of her qualities, is she's never judged people. She's just very accepting, and she doesn't even worry about that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we have come up to my activity. So for an activity, what I've done is I've taken, for all of us, I thought I would participate too, is I've taken all the body parts that I thought that we could comment on. For some of them, they're really general. For the face, I did include like nose, eyes, lips. I didn't include ears, I forgot that, and hair. And I thought we can just go around and take out one and describe how it makes us, like what we think of it in our own body and how it makes us feel. We'll just do it for a couple times, and then we'll basically make a body out of the pieces of the hat, out of the pieces of paper in the hat, and separate it into what we like about our body, the parts of our body we like and the parts of our body we don't like, just to get an idea of how we value ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
So we just choose
Yeah.
choose one
Choose one.
at a time.
Okay. And then you can start.
Okay.
I should get my glasses.
Yeah. Get those glasses out. So I start by saying what I like about it and what I don't like about it.
If you like it or if you don't like it. And then, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. To the right.
And
Sure.
you can say what do you like about it.
What did you get?
Face.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you like your face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's a good
not like
face.
woo, but I'm like, yeah. Generally speaking, there's some things that I'd trade out, but mostly I like my face. Do I talk about it more?
Sure. Overall, you're happy with the way you look.
Yeah.
Your face.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. My eyes are a little on the small side. My eyebrows could be bushier, right? Like if we were choosing,
Yeah.
they're pretty thin.
Yeah.
Up there.
Hey.
You know. Yeah, I know, right? I know. I hear you. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, it's not bad.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
What did you get?
I got feet.
Oh.
Oh
I
no.
I liked my feet until a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, what happened to you?
Well, I guess toes are different, right?
No, I think they're part of the feet.
Or
They are the big part of it.
Yeah.
Because that's the like.
So from playing basketball for so long and that I was pounding my toes into the shoes. I've lost my big toenails a lot of times, and now they kind of grow up. So they're in trauma all the time because I rub on the shoes.
Oh.
So they've detached a little bit, but it hasn't been bad. And then for my birthday, I got to go for a pedicure, and I think I got a fungus from.
Oh no.
So now it's like I've got toe fungus.
So what
You
is
got
toenail fungus?
Tolio.
Tolio.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's not confirmed yet. I should go to the doctor, but
What does toe fungus look like?
your nail starts to detach from your
Oh.
from the bed, and it gets all white. But my toe has been white. Half of it has been white for a long time because it's been detached, and the doctor said it's not fungus. It's just from what went on in your past.
now I'm hiding my feet.
Aw, that's too bad. That's terrible.
But
to
it-
feel that way.
I don't know if I really have it or it just, she said I had it, but
Right. Need to check it out.
need to check it out.
But
But other than
otherwise-
that, I really liked my feet.
You really like your feet?
Even though they're flat,
That's great.
they give me a lot of stability.
Yeah.
Especially in
flat
yoga.
feet.
Totally.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with flat feet. But I guess that's if you want an arch. Is that you're supposed to want an arch?
Well, you couldn't actually sign up and go to war if you had flat feet, I guess, because I guess you would, there'd be pain or whatever, but I've never touch wood had pain with my flat feet.
Wow.
With like a fallen arch or whatever, it'd probably be painful, but my feet have never been painful, so they supported me well.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. Well, I got boobs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wrists.
So I'm
That was her
okay.
suggestion.
I've always been okay with my breasts, and they're a little saggy now, but you know, I'm almost 70, so they can sag a little.
Yeah.
And otherwise, they're fine. They haven't been too big or too small, and
It gave you a good life.
I like. Is that to the right? I like my breasts.
To the right, yeah.
All right.
Can I go to
That's
the
good.
left?
Oh,
I have to go to the left,
that's
right?
Or
Or do I
no,
go to the
because
right?
of one toe. You like your feet, except
Yeah.
you got.
I like my feet,
Yeah.
except for my toes.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Two toes.
face.
Ah.
Oh,
Oh,
I
you
don't
get
wanna
to
be the only
participate.
negative person. I'm participating
Oh,
a little, yeah.
Nice.
I'm okay with my face. I don't like that I have a lot of pock marks around my mouth. That really bothers me. But it's something that Botox won't fix. Overall, I like my face. Yeah. There we are.
Right.
Okay.
Now are we doing it again?
Yeah.
For a while here, so they're all used up maybe. Oh, my bum. All right. I do not like my bum. It can go in the no area. Yeah. It's really hard to get a good picture of your bum. Like, to get a true sense of size and shape, you're always looking at it from an angle in a mirror. Always.
Right.
Right? And the shadows are hard. Like, you know, you look with a mirror or you've got a double mirror. I guess if you're in like a shopping, like a clothing room, trying on clothes,
Change room with mirrors.
and it's well lit. Cause I just find there's always shadows. Like, I can never get an idea of what's going on. It always just seems way bigger than it should be.
So why don't you like your bum?
I don't like the shape of it, and it always seemed way bigger than it should be. Even though I work out, like, my ass should be like the thing with the amount of exercises I do. Like, my arms look great because I do so many exercises. My butt gets more exercises than probably all the rest of me, and it doesn't show it.
It does show.
Mhm.
It's changed significantly since you started working out, and I think it looks fantastic.
Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, we could always take a
Take a
picture.
picture, I
of
was
it.
gonna say.
If
to
you
take a
wore
picture.
a G-string.
Oh God, no.
Well, I just saw this two
Yeah.
women have their pictures taken, a mother and a daughter.
Yeah.
And they both had large
Yeah.
buttocks.
Yeah.
But they were side views,
Mhm.
right? And so you saw their back, and
Right, the
I
shape
don't
of
know,
them.
I thought it would hurt your back, so it was so, but I thought, well, that would tell you exactly the shape.
Yeah.
Because when you look dead on from in
It's
a mirror,
terrible
it looks
shape.
like this
That's what
wide.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not. If you looked sideways
Sure.
and you took it,
Yeah, that's true.
it would
Yeah.
be different. So anytime, take
Well,
a picture.
it's the cellulite too.
Oh,
That's right,
yeah.
like my upper thighs and butt, like the amount of cellulite. Maybe if it was smooth, I'd be like, oh, I can live with a big
Yeah.
ass that is smooth.
An apple bum.
But it is not, and never has been. Like, I think since I was 10,
Yeah.
11 years old.
Yeah.
Like, totally not.
Right.
Not my body.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Eyes. I like my eyes.
Totally. Yep. Blue eyes.
Green.
They're green.
Green eyes.
Well, sometimes it was blue. Though.
Yeah.
But
That's what
they're
everybody always
They're
wants.
green.
I got like a color.
Right, yeah. They're green. Yeah, my eyes are good.
Yeah.
My eyes.
Totally. She's like, what the hell? She can sit beside me. She just can't lick and like. She's gonna lick. There you got to come in.
So I get to put eyes to the right.
Yep.
I mean, not much more to say about that. Just
Yeah.
that they're good.
Yeah.
I like them.
I'm hearing so much positive though.
Do you know?
That's great. I didn't expect to hear this much positive.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. She's gonna lick Mom. She's
Okay,
gotta do
up
that.
here. Come on,
There you go. That's her spot.
lie down.
Down, do you know?
Okay, so mine is eyes.
Oh, you got eyes too.
I got eyes. Come on, down, down, down.
Just pull her legs up.
Oh.
I like the color of my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I would like them a bit larger, but on the other hand, they're probably the right size for my face. So I'm okay with my eyes. I like my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Again, blue didn't pass it along.
Right?
Sorry. Brown's more dominant.
My hands. I do not like my hands. They are stubby. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about my hands. My hands don't consume me. I know some people are really concerned with their hands, but I don't have, rings don't look great on my hands. Kind of the fat pokes out from, the ring goes and then there's fat here on either side of it. And I like my hands with short nails and dark nail polish, but I can't wear nail polish now that I'm a mom. So, yeah, I would like to have maybe longer fingers, maybe piano fingers. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
There you go. Anna fingers. Matea has those.
So does Anna.
You what?
They're
Pretty long.
Yep.
You can wear those big rings that are so
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah, yeah.
chunky rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got hands too. Yeah, I've come to terms with my hands. It bothered me a lot when I was younger. I felt like,
Really?
yeah, like even from a teenager, my hands have always been kind of like this. And like the wrinkly bits, and like you can see the little, I don't know the hair, where the hair grows or whatever. Like I always felt like they looked like old person hands. Like there was never any youthfulness about them. So I used to like pass them off as artists' hands, because then I could like get behind the hands.
Mm.
So, but I mean, whatever. Now I'm like whatever. Like it doesn't matter as much. So I'm kind of in the middle on the hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know there could be a
I
mirror.
know.
Oh, I've got another feet. I gotta put it back
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Look at everyone.
You got two.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, and I didn't want anybody to know about my toe focus, and here I am picking
Well,
the feet.
that's okay, because I think now that you talked about it, I've got a finger fungus.
I got it again.
Oh.
Whoa, okay.
Okay, don't put that one back
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, that's fine.
See, and I'm looking at them now,
That's okay. You're gonna get them all eventually.
and I'm so worried that I won't be able to go to yoga.
Oh.
With a toe fungus.
Oh. No, you're fine. You're on your own mat.
Just put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah,
or toe fungus stuff.
look at a face.
Ah.
I'm okay with my face. My nose is a little bit big, but I know. It's because I'm blowing it all the time, it runs all the time. But,
It's not cold.
yeah, I'm okay with my face.
Yeah.
I was happy.
Yep. That's good.
Face. Face. I've been okay with my face. I think my nose is a little small, and bumped here, which I don't particularly like, but that's the way it is. Yeah, I'm good
That's
with
good.
my face. I
Yeah.
I got the wrinkles now.
I don't
They
feel
seem
like I
burned.
was ever really ugly. I never thought of myself
No.
as ugly.
No.
And so, yeah, I always thought my face was okay, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. All right.
I got 3 positives.
You have 3 positive.
Me too. Oh no. Yeah, I guess I do.
Do you want a chair, Anna?
No, I'm just gonna get a Kleenex or my runny nose.
Feet. Again, feet and hands do not bother me. I do not care about them. They do not take space in my life. Sure, they look like little squares. That's okay with me. They get me where I need to go. I can run on them. They treat me well. I'm just fine with my feet. They look like little sausage feet. I cannot wear toe rings at all because my toes are so little fat things.
Yeah.
But I don't care because they're my feet.
Width as the top at the bottom.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't like. They're just not something that even takes up an ounce of space in my head ever, and
Which
has
is so
ever.
great.
Yeah.
Totally.
So we'll do one more round each, and then we'll just sort them out
Okay.
to save time.
Legs. Yeah, I've never been thrilled with my legs. Let's move that over under the bum. Yeah.
Why?
I have a lot of cellulite.
Ah.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, for a really long time, it was hard to wear any kind of shorts that didn't just end right above the knee, because
But that's the top of your leg. How do you feel about the rest of your leg?
the rest of the leg's fine. I've had a bit of that, like, inner leg chub.
Yep.
For me, it's a spot where I tend to put weight on, so that's always been a little bit like not great either. But now that I've been working out for the last 2 years with weights, it's not really there anymore. So yeah, the rest of it's fine. But my legs have never been something that I've never really, you know, until maybe like with the weights, the working out, it's made me feel more confident.
Right.
For sure.
I like your legs. I've
I was
often
gonna say-
wanted your legs.
Oh,
I
Yes.
was, I was thinking, they look pretty darn good from here.
They're looking better for sure now.
Got another one.
Took till I was 43.
No, they do look good. 43.
Well, I found something that made them look better, I guess.
Hip. Maybe that's lips. It is lips.
Lips.
Yeah, my lips are okay.
Yeah.
I got nothing bad to say about my lips.
Yeah.
Lips.
I mean, now when you get older, of course, they thin out a little bit. So you really have to, if you want to show your teeth, you really have to kind of
Oh, you gotta,
emphasize
like,
that.
pull them
Smile.
You have to pull them up, yeah. I said to the dentist, can you just give me a little Botox there, just so I can, when I smile, you can actually see my teeth.
Yeah, right.
We've got all kinds of fixes for things now, but
Sure
I'm
do.
good.
I know. Yep.
This
Bum?
is bum.
Bum. Bum. Well, I think my bum's probably a little wide. And that's because I don't get to look at it sideways either.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know, I'm kind of don't even think about my bum very much.
Right.
It was just, it's what I sit on.
Yeah.
And that's it. And some pants it looks good and some they don't.
Everybody does that.
And so, yeah, so this bum is going in the middle.
Okay.
Because it's neither here nor there.
Okay. Oh. Arms. I don't like my arms. Oh yeah, these were things. That's things I like. Oh, these things were also things that I like. I don't care. But my arms I don't like. My arms, even when I'm working out, are always, I think because, I'm not sure, but I think from work weightlifting a lot, I built a lot of muscle, and then when I don't have the muscle, I have a lot of fat, and then they never, when they are muscular, they always seem to still have fat on them, and they just bug me. And so I just don't like my arms. I'd like to get them ripped and stitched.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think your arms look great.
Oh, well, thank you. But yeah, that's a part of my body. I mean, this part's okay, just fine.
I think the
But
whole
just
thing
this
looks.
part is not my fave. Well, thank you, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for the rest, we just pick out of basically your whole body's in here.
Uh-huh.
Just pick out the parts and put what you like and what you don't like. So what you like to the right, what you don't like to the left. And just to give us an idea of how we value our body. And then we'll just talk a little bit about why do we like some things about ourselves and why don't we? Like why and what influences that, right? Is it I'm wondering really, where are we getting these notions of this is acceptable or this isn't acceptable from? and is it something that's really ingrained in us from an outsider, you know, like for myself, I really feel like I'm aging early, and so I feel like I want to get work done, but I feel like that is completely media has saturated me with it. There's so much influence. There's so many people who get stuff done. It's in books I read. It's in TV shows I watch. It's so, you know, how much would that affect me if I lived in the Yukon in a cabin with nothing? So I'm kind of wondering that for all of you and us in women in general. How much are we influenced by the outside? How much does the patriarchy take in us? So so we'll just draw out our bodies and then kind of talk a little bit about that, and then we can wrap it up.
Okay.
I was just thinking while you were talking about health issues, and in the last few years, it seems health issues have driven me back to getting more fit, to helping with health issues.
Oh.
And it just starts with one little thing, like making the bed that one morning, and I put my vertebrae out.
Whoa, yeah, that's awful.
You know, and so you're fine one day, and the next day you're not.
Yeah.
So you feel good about yourself. Okay, but now you got a sore back. Now you think, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that, and then you start to feel uncomfortable in your clothes. Things aren't fitting, and you're still in pain.
Yeah.
And then, well, I gotta get back. You gotta keep moving. You gotta, and then you go to the doctor and they say, don't stop. You gotta keep exercising and strengthen the muscles. So that started me on my whole journey of going back and doing Pilates and strengthening.
Mm-hmm.
Ground up again kind of thing, hey?
Yeah. And then you feel so good about yourself when you are exercising,
Mm-hmm.
and you're able to eat because you're hungry and you're exercising.
Yes.
But it's when
But
the
then
body is
when
just-
it comes to where you can't do the exercise, then that really changes,
It kind of
you know, like, it stops you, and then you go, okay, wow,
now what?
now not only can you not exercise, but you shouldn't have those little extra things
Yeah.
because there's no way of getting
hate
rid of
that,
it.
though.
Yeah, so that's hard.
Yeah, I find it's a bit of a mind game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the other day I was walking Penny and I thought, well, and I've been admiring people who can run. And I don't mean long distances, just run.
Just to move.
And I went, I wonder if I can still run. And so I ran. And I can still run.
Well, that's something.
Amazing.
Yeah. I
yeah.
know, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of amazing because I feel like that sometimes too. It's like,
Well, but I didn't run. I ran, 20 feet. I
But
didn't
still,
run for long.
I get it though, like the
Yeah.
ability of your body to do that without like immediately having some pain or you
Yeah.
know, or you falling over or like I sometimes feel that way too. where
With the
it's like,
hip anyways.
Yeah, that
with
too
my hip.
especially.
Yeah, because that's what's holds me back now to do.
As
anything.
much as you want to do.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the emphasis now though may be more on health and not as much on body image. Do you think I'm wrong?
I think that it's a new way to look at body image. I think that muscular and fit is the new skinny. So people are encouraged to do cleanses. People are encouraged to eat clean. People are encouraged to still adapt themselves in a certain way to fit a certain body shape that might not necessarily be their body shape. For example, my friend Danielle, who worked out all the time, but a very thin, bean-like person, never could gain the muscle mass and always felt bad about that, but that's just because muscles are in fashion. So, I don't know if I think being healthy is kind of it's just a new marketing. I'm wondering, do you think being healthy is a new marketing ploy?
I think for younger people maybe, but at our age, it's like, I don't think it's a marketing thing, it's a necessity.
Yeah.
In order to keep doing the things that you need to do.
But do you need those acai berries, and do you need the jojoba
yeah.
oil, and do you need
I
the,
don't do those.
right? But all those things are considered a part of the health industry as well. Like we're always being inundated with, this will make you healthier, this will make you better, this will make you able, green tea extract will make you thinner, able to run faster, you know.
Yeah, but we just tune out to that. We just do our own thing.
Yeah,
And
so
we
you
still
find
eat
it doesn't
healthy.
influence, though that kind of marketing doesn't influence you.
No.
No.
I can listen to it, and I can appreciate it, I read a little bit about it, but it doesn't mean I have to do it.
Right.
The only reason I'm doing green tea is because the Chinese doctor suggested it,
Oh, yes.
and so I thought, well, I'll give it 3 months,
Yes.
just because it won't hurt me.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, and I meant green tea extract.
No.
It's these capsules that you can take.
No, I
Yeah.
don't want to do.
I wonder too, like, is that maybe because you guys have been around the block a few more times than someone in their 20s or 30s, right? Like, you've seen the fads come, you've seen them go, you've kind of been there, done that. Like, I
Well,
wonder
and
if
then-
it's just experience.
And you got to read the other side too. The other, like, I'm not sure that if you're eating properly, you don't need to go get those supplements and extra things. I still think you can get it from your food, no matter what anybody says. I still think that you can get what you need, that you don't need your extra vitamins. And
Yeah.
I think it's a waste of money. I think it's just.
Yeah. So that's, and perhaps that is generational, because I know that lots of people, especially with weightlifting, there's, a ton of marketing. There's products that you can take before weightlifting that give you caffeine.
Well, I think
There's,
those people they're really into bodybuilding, and I don't know anything about it.
right.
So I'm not going to say what they should and shouldn't do, because I've never been there.
Right.
So I have no idea about that.
Right.
I just mean in general,
Yes.
in general life.
In our generation too, we don't wanna put money out for exercise.
Yeah.
Like we're the generation, you did it without paying, you got your exercise, so to go and pay for exercise, it's kinda,
kind of burns a little bit,
yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
I am frugal when it comes to that kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That being said, with the vitamins and stuff, I do have friends that take tons of vitamins.
Right.
So I don't know. Just I don't.
Yes.
That's,
So it might not be generational, it might be personal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So I have no idea.
but think about all your friends, like, I think about a lot of the people I know, if they don't take vitamins, like even the 84-year-old.
Yeah.
Who's in better shape than all of us, like she burned on the trail, on the road today, she could outride us all.
Yeah.
So, and no vitamins, and no medicine,
I just think you have to.
and maybe it's just genes.
I think a lot of it's genes.
I think it must be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
Well, and if you have time to eat properly too, it's
Yes.
easier.
Yeah.
Oh,
When
totally.
you don't have time to eat properly, it's kind of like,
It's
bring
hard.
on the supplements.
So,
and
is it the
vitamins.
quick fix? Everybody's looking for a quick fix?
Totally.
I think
How
so.
to change it?
Yeah.
How to-
So.
Without having to put themselves out.
Well, and probably everybody wants to be a little bit superhuman, I imagine. How to improve, how to get an edge,
Yeah.
how to get, be a little bit better than you can be just regularly, I imagine. Be a little bit thinner than your natural body type.
Why?
Well, because, like Selena shared earlier, when you were really thin, but you were too thin to maintain it. You were too thin for your body type, but you loved being that thin.
Oh, well, yeah. For my generation, I think it's like thinner's better.
Yeah.
Well,
Thinner's popular.
And
Thinner's prettier. Thinner's more successful. Thinner is stronger. Thinner is smarter. Thinner is like,
Yeah.
really.
Well, I did that too. I went and got really, really too thin.
Yeah.
Could not maintain that.
Right.
And
But I can also see like that the bodybuilding piece of it is also about this is better.
Mm-hmm.
This is, know, like it's kind of like it comes
Same
back to
thing.
ego and body image.
Yeah.
Like the people that are at the gym
Yeah.
are, I think, you know, I think that everybody probably gets the spiritual, physical benefits, but I think there's a lot of men at the gym who are doing it for body image.
Oh, for
And
women.
sure.
And women, I just
And
see
women, yeah.
like 85% men,
Yeah.
right? You know, 30% women or 25% women or whatever.
Right, when you go to the
15.
gym.
And it's, well,
Where's the math?
and not just that body image, but like if I look at yoga, it's the
Strong read.
it's the ego of being able to do it,
Yeah, the pose.
the poses.
Yeah.
You know, whether that gives you a better body image or not, it has, you know,
Yeah, it's like
that
it's
has nothing to
always
do with
there.
it. It's the, I can do that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and then when you can't, you go,
Yeah.
okay, what do I do with this ego?
Well, it's really, it's hard
humbling.
too, like with the yoga, it always feels like every place you go, if you don't conform to the way you're supposed to look, you don't fit. And yoga places I find are just as bad. There's women wearing probably $250 worth of yoga gear.
Oh,
They're thin.
right.
They've got that kind of reedy strength about
Yeah.
them, like that's the yoga look. And you know, and everybody, like if you go to a not private yoga place, like and you start adding up, you can see their clothing, they're all brand, you know, there's a
Lululemon.
brand on them.
Yeah.
The amount of money that went into the clothes that they wore, like how do you keep up with that? Like it's just crazy to me. And it all comes kind of back to, I'm here to show you that I'm better. I'm here to show you that I'm,
And look at me in my clothes.
and look at me in my pose. Like,
Oh, and your
I can
pose.
do it. And
Right.
Yeah, like, I don't know, just, but maybe that's my issue.
So you
Maybe
feel like
I
there's
feel-
showmanship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
with the gym as well, or just yoga?
Well, because there's not a lot of women, I find, at the regular,
What, the rec centers?
the rec center gyms.
Okay.
There's some women.
Yeah.
And some of them are there to be looked at, and some of them are there to work out.
And do you find then that goes back to, do you think that goes back into being thin? Like the same ideas, look at how thin I can get, look how blonde I can get. Look
It just
how-
comes back to conform to the body image that is the right body. You
At
know,
the time.
the body image you're being sold
Right.
is what it comes back to.
Yeah. And wearing the right clothes for it. And, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never gone to a yoga class where you have to wear the right clothes.
I'm too cheap. You
Yeah.
know, like I think when I gain a little bit of weight, I'm thinking, oh, there's no way I'm gonna be spending money to buy new clothes. And so I think, okay, you need to just cut back a little bit. You know, you were indulging in the licorice too much. So, and the first place I put it on is my boobs.
Oh,
And so
that's
every
Well, that's nice.
no,
But it's better than
I
other
didn't get the
places.
boobs. See, the boobs are over here.
Oh, your boobs are over there.
Yeah, my boobs are over there.
Oh.
It's a, well, your mom knows my issue with my boobs is like everything will fit everywhere else, but the buttons pop.
That's frustrating. Yeah.
So it's like as soon
I
as
get that little bit of fat flab at the top that doesn't fit the bra anymore.
yeah, but as soon as salt or anything, my
Yeah.
boobs get bigger,
Wow.
and it just feels uncomfortable. They're
Wow.
uncomfortable.
Oh, that's too
Mm.
bad you don't.
No.
That's what it should be come down to. How do I feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so even when you're sleeping at night, trying to
Really?
it's really uncomfortable. And so I'm really aware if I drank too much, had too much water or salt or whatever, the boobs just.
That's good to know. Like, yeah.
So don't ever wish for big boobs because you won't want them when you get them.
I didn't ever want big boobs actually, no.
No.
But that one always went with the being thin. I always wanted to minimize. Yeah.
Slender
Small.
everywhere, right?
Well, and because, being into clothes are designed to fit thin women, so clothes look better without breasts, you know, unless they're designed to show off cleavage. Fashion clothes are designed for it to be flat-chested,
Mhm.
so that I always wanted to be more flat-chested.
Really? In our day and age, it wasn't like that, was it? They always had cleavage,
Yeah, a lot of cleavage.
a lot of cleavage.
Yeah.
So I never wanted it.
No, I don't like. I was never
was
comfortable.
almost flat, so
So you had the body.
I had the top body.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the bottom body.
It's really
I
interesting
know.
talking about the changes, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
you know, even Matea, like her generation will be different again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like she's already aware that she's bigger than her friends, and she has long fingers, and she was really disheartened that she couldn't buy fashion rings. You know, like at Old Navy or the Gap, they'll sell rings, and there'll be like 5 of them, and they all come, and they're different colors or different styles, and none of the fashion rings fit her fingers. Her fingers are too big,
Wow.
which made her feel fat again. You know, she was like, oh, like I can't even fit any of these. Like, what's wrong with me? You know, she's there with a girlfriend who's got teeny tiny little fingers, and those friends fit all of them.
Mhm.
You know, so it's interesting what they will judge themselves
Yeah, instead of
against.
saying, well, we need to go to another store where they have rings that fit me,
Yeah.
it's comparing notes.
That's what I told her. I said, no, you're just going to places where they're cheap. Like, we just
Yeah.
have to go figure out what size you are, and then go find places that have a wider selection. Like, you're just getting the cheap. They stocked what fit, you know.
Yeah.
And with her generation, they're watching YouTube, which is unregulated.
Mhm.
So people saying, I don't like this about my body. Here's like all the things that I analyze about myself that I don't like. Here's what I'm going to do to make all the changes. Like, it's pretty incredible with Instagram and, you know, Pinterest and YouTube, all the tutorials you can get to change the way you look because you don't like yourself. Like, anything that you can analyze about any part of your body that you don't like, there's a million people who have done it, tutorials on how to fix it,
Mhm.
changes to make, so you can just obsess that much more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can hear that much more. This isn't normal. This is weird. Nobody likes it. So yeah, it'll have to be more resilient.
Okay, no more of that, go out and play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should get to wrap this up though. So
Okay.
let's look at our groups. Oh, so it's I noticed, Selena, with your creation of the middle group,
Yeah,
you're pretty even.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Not bad, hey?
No.
Yeah.
So you like your nose, boobs, arms, and face,
Yeah.
and you're in the middle about your eyes, mouth, lips, and hands.
Yeah, it's not that I don't, you know, I hate them, but,
Okay.
you know, they're
Okay,
alright.
so for today, this is how it is, but tomorrow may be different.
Yes.
That's okay.
That's allowed.
So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Is that right? Because that's how many I have.
6, 7,
I got
8,
11.
9, 10, 11. I have 11 too.
Which one am I missing?
I don't know.
One of these.
Some of them are a little redundant. Like face is a little redundant, and lips and mouth are a little redundant.
Oh, here we are. Mouth. I haven't got my mouth. Well, my daughter says I'm mouthy.
So you like it then?
Yes.
Mhm.
So Anna, those are all the things you like, and then just what you don't like.
Yeah.
That's
That's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Boobs, yeah.
That's
Well, like I
great.
said, for today,
Yeah, but that's good though, because it means
And then this is all what you like.
Yep.
And then what you're impartial.
Yeah.
And then what you don't like.
Yeah.
And so look at even generationally,
yeah.
and so do you think that this is age? That you've come to accept yourself and your body more? Or do you think that this is the generational impact on?
Or just 2 unique individuals that happen to be similar.
True.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about how you felt your whole life,
Mm-hmm.
I've never particularly liked my legs. They're not long enough, and also I have the fat around my knees, and have never been able to lose that, no matter how I.
Genetics.
Yeah,
Right.
whatever I did, even working out all the time. And my hands too are not, I love long fingers. I admire long fingers. I like to look at them.
Yeah.
And I didn't get them, and that's okay. The hands do what they need to do. And so they're not that bad. I probably should put it there.
Mhm.
And yeah, but I don't think I've ever had a real big problem with any of these things anyways.
That's
So,
great.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So I don't know if it's generational or changed because, I'm older now. I
Yeah.
don't think I've really had, it's a overall image thing when I was younger and then getting older, you kind of, So I mean, my face is starting to sag so would that go over here? Well, for my age, I'm probably fine. So
Right.
that's why my face, but even when I was younger, I thought my face was okay. It's
Yeah.
the way it is, so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. And then yeah, we're pretty even. You're more in the middle than me,
Mm-hmm.
and I have more things that I.
It's pretty close.
It
You
is
got
pretty
lots of things you like
yeah.
too.
I was just thinking about the different stresses in our lives. You know, like I look at this and I think, I feel really blessed sometimes that I had the experiences in my life where I saw other people doing things to their bodies that weren't great. And did that help me give me the power to make my own choices?
Yeah.
And decide how I wanted to live my life?
Yeah, because you had a model for those other things.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So rather than fixating on what they looked like in the magazines, and that I wanted to be healthy and I wanted to not be like some of the examples I had in my life,
Right.
where it's unfortunate that those people had those experiences that I saw. And fortunately, a lot of them really got it together and got better, but I feel fortunate that I was able to witness that and
Learn from it without
and
having
learn
to do
from
it
it
yourself.
without having to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
so I think I may have got there a lot quicker
That's an
from
interesting
my
point.
experiences in life.
Yeah, because I'm curious, like, you know, like the people that you were around, like that to a certain degree is chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but also I'm wondering about your ability
Even
to perceive.
environmental, you know, the environment you grow up with,
Yeah.
the community you grow up in, and everything. There's
Yeah.
so many influences, so many stresses in life that people
Yeah.
react differently to. And in
Yeah.
order to handle the stress, they become very conscious or they become unconscious and then fall into bad patterns.
Yeah.
And maybe my life just made me more conscious.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that I didn't ever kind of fall by the wayside as well, but I think I had enough of those examples that it kind of clicked in my head earlier maybe that I empowered myself to make my own choices. I
Yeah.
had that power in me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So it's a combination of your perseverance and your personality strengths and some interesting influences that you had.
Yeah, and just timing maybe.
Yeah.
I just feel so fortunate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
totally.
So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
stress, it's crazy what it does.
Stress is crazy what it does. I used to
Yeah.
have people before I had Griffin say to me, "You look so young." You people used to think I was in my late 20s, and after I had Griffin, nobody was ever surprised I was my age.
You take it out of you.
What's that? They
Yes,
take,
they
yeah,
take it.
they definitely age you very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we will wrap it up. Does anybody have any last comments?
That was mine.
Okay.
I think what's interesting is when you break it down like this, is that you do find that you feel okay you feel more okay than not okay with yourself, and coming into it, coming into it, I thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about the body, you know, like and so I didn't have as positive an idea that it would work out, but I see I am a lot more positive than I thought I was.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And that's great feedback,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
my conclusion.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
You were very enthusiastic in this one.
We were looking forward to the age thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, the body thing was like, oh, okay, well.
So we should all go out for lunch somewhere and talk about the
And then I just need to get your guys' feedback on the group. Anything that you would have done differently, or that you didn't like about it, or that you did particularly like.
I like the 3 steps. I thought it was a good kind of like ease into it. You know, like, and I think it was good that we all put our, it wasn't trust, but it was kind of trust together, that you
That we
pulled the
talked
trust
about
together.
our
Yeah.
Trust. Okay.
And then you warmed us up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about the grounding exercise?
Yeah, that was good. Although I was a little alarmed at first that I could not picture blackness with a pinprick of light.
No, me neither.
Oh, you
no,
couldn't?
No, I couldn't either.
Oh,
I mean,
Okay,
I
that's
eventually
interesting.
got there by
I could picture a
mental
house,
manipulation.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so, yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
and that was interesting.
Yeah.
Where my house was, but
Where was your house?
it was on top of a cliff,
Really?
and there was ocean underneath. It was just
Ah,
kind of,
that's your
Yeah.
safe place, eh? Fair, okay.
Interesting.
yeah. It was a pretty neat house. So yeah,
That's really
that was
neat.
good. Yeah.
And what were your chairs like?
Oh, it was the best chair ever. I gotta get one.
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
I've now pictured what I would want. If nobody else was gonna use it and mess it up
Yeah.
and sit in it, and it was like the thing.
Is it old? Is it new?
It was
It's
big. Mine was big.
mine was really big too.
Yeah.
Like almost one of those ones. Have you seen now? They sell. I don't even know what they're called, but they're often kind of round or curved a bit, and it's kind of like a couch, but it's not a couch.
Oh yes.
And they're big, and they've got like often like quite a
Yeah.
like your whole legs fit up there,
Yeah.
and probably your dog or something. Not quite that big,
Yeah.
because I don't want a lot of people up there. But then lots of my favorite kind of cushions,
Yeah.
and really tall back cushions at the back, because that's what I like.
Mine has lots of blankets. There's like different kinds of soft blankets everywhere, and yeah, yeah, it's by a window but by a fire too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best of both.
I didn't know. Do you
Well,
have-
I have a chair at home and I'm always warm because I always have blankets and pillows. So
Was
I
that-
just went right to my chair.
Oh, there you go.
That's so cool. You
Yeah.
already have your favorite
Well,
chair.
you know, being cold all the time, you
Oh,
gotta have
yeah.
a chair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
That's great.
Yeah. I thought cutting up the pieces of the body was a really good idea,
Yeah.
rather than taking it as the whole, and then having to break it down. It was already broken down for us, so we didn't have to go through that process. So I thought that was a good idea.
So you like the activity?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's great.
yeah. The conversation is good, and people are good.
Yeah, well thanks for like taking everything seriously and investing yourselves, because it flowed really nicely, and it was, I didn't have to prompt anybody or poke you with.
Yeah. Or like,
Anything.
come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Yeah. So thank you so much for doing
You're
this.
welcome.
Yeah, it was fun. We should do more groups.
I was gonna say, what's next week?
Yeah, we should. Right? It is neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling you guys about that full, and I was telling Mom and Selena about my friend. I have a friend that goes to these full moon women's circles, and
Full moon.
on the full
Oh,
moon,
full
they do women's circles.
Okay.
And at one of this women's circles, so everybody's sitting in a circle, and you turn to the person on your right or whatever, and you hold hands with them, and you say, "I love you no matter what," and then they say, "Even if I," and then you get to say all of your fears, like even if I fail, even if I get fired from
Oh,
work,
my mom's in there,
and
Daryl.
they're like, even if you
Griffin
get
came
fired
up
from work.
already.
Even if
He
I,
left.
even if I spent all the money, even if you spent all the money, even if I
Where's
don't
what
love
Dan will come
myself,
up and help
even
you.
if you don't love yourself. And she said it was just like so
Wow.
empowering. Yeah, I really want to go to one of them now. And then
Talk
she said
about
they all danced.
Unconditional love.
Yeah, well, that was it all about, and just like the idea of like stoking womanly love. And then she said they all danced around and sang about their wounds.
It's like, and do they all do the grunt, the earth sound, the
Oh, I don't know. I should ask though. Yeah,
Oh,
she said there was a pregnant woman there though, and she said she was just crying,
Oh.
like, because they were talking about their fears, right? Like, what if? There was one point where you had to look in a mirror and say like, you are whatever your fear was, and she was like, you are going to be a good mother, and she was just crying, and yeah, neat, hey?
Yeah,
That is neat.
Yeah,
it
I
is.
think they're kind of weird, but they're neat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
There's so many ways out there learning about yourself. Isn't
Yeah,
there?
Yeah.
there is. Yeah.
And I mean, even at my age, I still think, I just know so little, because you read a book or you hear about somebody else's experience like this movie and you think like, oh, they've learned so much from there. Really don't know anything.
I know, and I feel like
It's a
that too.
drop
It's
in the
like,
bucket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we neglect to try new experiences just because, just laziness or fear or, it's just so crazy to say no to things. No, I don't want to try that.
I think when we went to the Kundalini workshops,
Right, she's sleeping.
Yeah.
and we had hold hands and do all, I don't know what we were doing, but we were doing something, and then we all had to,
And you
Take
had
a
to dance
turn.
around all on your own and.
yeah, and then you
Yeah.
had to say to the whole group, you had to sing. Like I'm not a singer, but you had to sing to the whole group
Yeah.
this one line. Do you remember that?
No.
We had to sing. I remember just when my palms went all sweaty.
It's terrible.
Me sing, oh no.
Yeah, it's true though. Try everything once,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I believe that. I really try to say yes to something.
Yeah.
Every time I'm given a chance to do something once.
Oh, good. So we're gonna go to a full moon circle.
Like, maybe. I just don't know if I can get through it. So I guess that's the only thing. It's if I
A what
can't.
circle?
This full moon circle that
Oh.
Emma was
Right.
talking about. I
So
just
what is
don't.
it, an hour?
I don't want to embarrass anybody
know.
if I leave early. Like I would.
Why would you leave?
Because like I don't know that I can get through it and be serious anymore. Like I just don't know if I'm that person. You know, like
Oh,
I
I
can
can
get
get
through
into
parts
anything.
of it, like what you were talking about,
Yeah.
some parts of it, but like. Yeah.
And you have, and that's a really important thing I've learned too, is that if you don't wanna be there, don't be there.
Yeah.
Like if you get there and it's not for you, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
empower
And
yourself
I don't
to
do that
say-
enough. I don't leave enough. When I want to leave, I like don't leave because I am like I don't want to be rude or
Yeah.
I don't want to like put out the people, but I need to just get up and leave more. Just be like I'm out. I
Yeah.
don't want to do this. I don't
Yeah.
want to be here.
It doesn't because you were totally.
We're
So
leaving
much fun.
because you need to get your son
Into bed.
to bed.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Thank
not
you.
try to-
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Yeah.
Can we do like another women's group maybe and pick a topic?
Don't forget your phone's still
Sure.
recording.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be neat though to do a